Hey guys, CJ here, PBX How To's. As you can tell, I'm feeling a little better. So I want to continue on the series with IP Office. Kind of answer some questions on that I usually get for IP Office, especially when I was at Avaya, is why would you want to pick this? Why would you use this system over other systems? You know, whatever. What are the capabilities of the IP Office and things like that? And as I'm showing you here, this is a IP Office or a IP406 v2. This is the one I actually have, but I have a bunch of others. I have a 500, I have a 412, 403, some control units, some expansion units. I also have each of these dongles and what they do. Basically, this is the serial keys, and version 6.0 uses a different type of licensing, and I won't talk about that in this video because that's quite special, and I'll talk about that later. But as you can see here, this is a little loud there. This is the USB dongle. This is the serial key that actually plugs right into the back of the control unit. This is a parallel unit that you can use on a computer. Tells you where the license keys are on the back of this. All right, so this is, like I said, the 406, and the 406 comes with in the front. It comes with 8 DS ports, or digital station ports, that you can hook up all types of digital station phones, partner phones if this is a partner type of configuration that you're going to do. These are POTS lines, or 2 analog phone lines that you can plug in, whether for modem access or whatever. But you can plug those in here. And let me clarify, there's no modem built in. You got to actually set one on top and hook it in, and you have analog phone. All right, so this is the status lights, the WAN, the CF card, all that good stuff. This is shows you all the lights, and these cycle through when you reboot it. This is the status light in the center here. It's usually green. If it's red, you got a problem, or it's rebooting. This is the CF card slot. This is where you can put the embedded voicemail card, or you can load your IP telephone files onto this card and set your IP Office to be the TFTP server. So you got some cool things. You can back up stuff to it. These are the LAN ports. So this is like a little switch, and this, like I said, this, believe it or not, the IP Office is a pretty powerful unit, and the things it can do. It can run as a DHCP server. It can be a firewall for you if you want. You can, hook this up on your network and have your firewall set up, and have your iPhone to, VPN into this and have access to things. So very, very powerful system. On the back of the system is the control ports, and I don't have a picture here. And I had to cough there, sorry about that. And let me find the back. Okay, and here's the back of the unit. This is actually just a drawing. But you have 2 slots. All right, let me start from left. Expansion, external output switch socket. Talk about that later. Power, DTE. This is where you actually hook the serial, this guy up to. That's the serial key. You can hook it right up to that DTE port, and it's a pass-through, so you can hook up your direct connection if you need to reset this thing back to defaults. 2 slots to hook up different types of interfaces. You can have an analog trunk, a BRI, a PRI. I have a PRI in mine, so I can actually show you how that works. A WAN slot, hook up some WAN equipment, and 6 expansion ports to hook up 6 other control units. And when I say control units, I'm talking the analog POTS, the DS port expansion control units, things like that, and an audio input socket so you can have music on hold. All right, so that's it. And this thing, there's no fans, there's no noise. This thing runs very, very well. I love it. I use it in my house. Yes, I do. I'm a dork. I'm a geek. I'm all that good things. But I use it for anything. I use it for SIP-to-SIP connections to test my SIP stuff, my H323 connections to my Avaya S8700s, my 8100s, anything. I mean, this thing is very powerful. Now, ask me that, well, I don't know, what, 10 years ago? When it was network, 10 years? What year are we in? Well, more like 8 or 9 when I started knowing about this as network alchemy. Very different system. It wasn't made to work in the United States. In fact, it was a nightmare to get working in the United States. Took a while, and here we are. We're at where we're at today because of it. But I absolutely love these systems. Are they buggy? Yes, they are. But with anything, there's constant updates. There's constant upgrades coming out. Avaya does listen. They absolutely do listen to you guys, the customers, the community, on what's going on, so they can apply patches in a timely manner to these things, because they're a bit more easier to deploy than they would be for a super patch like on an 8700. But the interface is very intuitive. It's all right here. It reminds me of like an audio codes interface, you know, or a net SIP gateway, right? So everything's right here. I mean, you have everything that the system can do. Your lines, this will show you the lines I have available to me. And you can see I have a T1 line, and actually I can hook up, I can add my analog, so I could add another one here for my analog that I wanted, my analog port trunk, CO trunk, whatever you want to call it. But you can see all your channels. They're out of service because I don't have anything connected, obviously. But you know, the different control units, and you can see it actually knows that I have a POTS 2. Well, not POTS 2. This is what's in 1, 2, 3. This is what's inside the IP406. So if I had another control unit, it'd be underneath here. And here's the extensions, the different extensions you can have, the different users. This is the default configuration, by the way. This is what comes out of the box. The different hunt groups that are assigned, the system short codes, or also known as feature access codes on the Definity side, and everything else, your incoming call routes, your WAN port, RAS, your remote access, your firewall profile. You can create a tunnel, VPN tunnels, logical LANs, the user rights, alternate routing selection for outgoing calls, and E911. This thing does support E911. This also does support, I don't know why it does that, it's just kind of something funky. Let's see, where's VoIP, LAN, VoIP. You can see I have SIP trunks enabled, I have SIP registrar enabled, H323 gateways. You know, for a little box, for a little 1.5U box that sits in a rack and handles phone calls and can support multiple types of phones, different types of phones, both PBX type phones, key system phones like the partner system, you know, the Avaya Definity systems or the S8700s. It can support, you know, the IP telephones. It can support 6424s, you name it. This is a very powerful system and very inexpensive comparatively. Now, the number of users, that's a whole different story, because again, this is made for the SME, or the small medium to, you know, small medium business size. So up to 500 users is kind of a cutoff, and if you're going to go past that, I would start looking at 8300s. If you're going to go past 2500 users, I would start looking at the 8700s or 8500s. So you have options, and that's what's nice. This is what kind of completed the portfolio for Avaya back in the day, to say, hey, we need something for the small market that can actually act like the big boys. And this can. I developed off of this. I developed CTI applications off of this using Voicemail Pro. Because Voicemail Pro, that's a whole other thing. You can do a ton of stuff in there. And the WAV files that it created, you can get information out of them. I can go on and on and on. But this is kind of a quick overview of what I think about this system. Again, if I look at the pros and cons, the pros today certainly outweigh all the cons. So do your research as always, check it out, but I'm going to make a ton of videos on IP Office, and a lot of fun stuff that you can do that may not be out there that you can try, and it won't hurt anything. Again, because it's a small system, and the things you try just, well, I'll take back what I said, because I don't know what you're using it for. If you're using it as a branch gateway off of a Definity, or if you're using it as a control unit for your big system, just be careful. Use your common sense, that's all. But again, a very cool system. So stay tuned. I got a lot of videos coming, like I said, coming out on this one, and I got to do some catch up on the 8700 stuff. But again, guys, I appreciate your comments and questions. I'll try to get them to them as fast as I can and respond to them. Like I said, I'm catching up this weekend and getting over this nasty cold I had. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening to me, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.